Welcome to the What the Nuck podcast, the podcast for Canucks fans. I'm your host, Roddy, alongside my good friends and co-hosts, Brabby and Gunny. Well, gents, this is what the playoff picture currently looks like here. The Canucks are struggling, fighting for the second wildcard spot. They're and potentially third in the Pacific if they get their act together, but let's be real, I don't think that's in question currently. So currently, third in Pacific is the Los Angeles Kings at 75 points. And then fighting for wildcard 2, Calgary is in a playoff position with 70 points, followed by Vancouver at 69, St. Louis at 69 points, and Utah at 66 points. With the recent struggles of this team, or all year offensively, do you guys see these guys squeaking into the wildcard 2 with the current identity that they have, or do you guys see them missing playoffs? I'll go to you first, Brabby.
Okay. I honestly don't think they're going to make playoffs.
No.
I've seen a lot of people saying, "Oh, but they're above the rest of these teams." There's actually nothing positive about this team right now. Like, I can't think of a single thing. Maybe
two.
Okay, two things, but like those do not.
No, I agree.
The negatives of this team outweigh the positives so badly, and it's just like this. Obviously, they're still in it. I don't know, man. I'm so frustrated. I've been thinking about this team. Honestly, I was pretty invested with them leading up to Four Nations. Afterwards, it is what it is, right? So, do I think they're gonna make playoffs? No. Do I hope they make playoffs? Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. Who do you think makes it if they don't make it then, out of those teams?
Honestly, Calgary.
Damn, okay.
I don't think Calgary's as bad as everybody says they are.
Yeah.
They're not good. They're like
kind of
us.
just carried by Wolf, right?
Yeah. But honestly,
Vladar's been playing very good too.
Carried by goaltending, I guess. But
yeah. But it's going to be Calgary, and they'll be pretty electric, especially if Calgary can make it past the first round to somehow match up with Edmonton. But this team is so
big
cooked.
if there.
Yeah, massive if. They're honestly, here's the thing: if Vancouver makes it, we're this year's Capitals, and I guarantee we get 4-0. Like,
I think that's the issue.
Yeah.
Like what team's gonna make it? Teams are like 1 to 3 points off each other with 20-ish games left. It's at that point, whatever team gets hot.
Mm-hmm.
Like Buffalo gets hot in October. Whoever team decides to get hot in March or April is going to be the team to make it. It's just a question of like, do we really care? Playoffs are fun and everything. Last year was like obviously the step up and everything, but this year, what's happening? Like, they're going to make playoffs. They get in there and face Dallas?
Or Winnipeg.
Yeah, Winnipeg's at least a choker, but I just it's just making playoffs. Like, no one has any confidence in this team. We're not a cup contender. We're not a dark horse. We're joining the mushy middle with Minnesota of old and Calgary and the Islanders. Yeah. Those are kind of the teams we're sitting with right now.
Yeah.
Not a lot of confidence that this team could do anything in the playoffs without even getting into all the injuries and everything. So, do I think the Canucks make it? Actually, yes. Do I think they'll do anything in the playoffs? God, no.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as you. I'm pretty confident, just out of those slog of teams, that Vancouver will come out on top. The roster is, in my opinion, just better. They've been playing... I'll take this lightly. They've been playing playoff hockey for a while, very low scoring. They just don't seem to come out on top of it often, or, enough to gain any traction. But one of these teams has to get hot eventually here. They're all just having an absolute mid-off, and no one's taking grasp at that wild card too. Also, I could see potentially in a little bit here, Minnesota falling out of wild card 1, potentially, just with their injuries with Eriksson Ek and Kaprizov.
And Brodin.
Sorry, yeah. So they're getting injury trouble as well. Obviously, we're missing Hughes right now, Demko, but Lankinen's been carrying the whole season, really. I still think Vancouver makes it, but for what? To face those teams, like we're saying, I think we play in the next 19 games, 5 of them are against Vegas, Winnipeg, and Dallas. And it's like, okay, pick your poison on those teams. It's like Brabby said, Capitals we're probably getting 4-0'd there, but 2 games of revenue for Mr. Mr. Aquilini. So
like we got Calgary, St. Louis, and Utah all coming up in the next few weeks here.
Yeah,
Probably
Calgary's
2 or 3
this
weeks.
Wednesday.
Yeah,
That
so,
Calgary game is going to be a bloodbath. I feel like that's going to have such a playoff feel to it. I'm so
honestly,
excited.
we are fighting with every game now.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Every game is important. Like even, and that's just the thing. Like we don't have any notes in here about the game last night against Dallas, but Dallas is a great team, and that was the most beatable Dallas team that the Canucks are going to see this year, with Rupe Hintz out of the lineup, Ottinger not playing, Heiskanen not playing, and they're on a second of a back-to-back. That's the most beatable Dallas team you can get, and Vancouver just, the Stars obviously didn't provide, and if you're not going to win many hockey games only getting 1 goal in a game. That's just plain and simple. You're asking, I'll talk about this later, but you're just asking Lankinen and the D-core to play a perfect, no-mistake game. Yeah, hot start here. A lot of negativity. I love it.
When's the last time you guys potted? When was the last time we chat? What just happened? Was the Miller
last
trade?
one was... Have we even talked about the Miller trade?
I feel like we have.
Yes, we have.
You
There's
guys
no
had
way
the
we
emergency
have.
pod after.
Yeah,
So,
we
yeah.
did. That was after Vancouver. But
There was the hope
Yeah.
it'd be like a shakeup there, right?
that was with you. Yeah, and there was... Yeah, exactly. There was hope that there'd be a shakeup, and it looked like there were. Like, the new guys were coming in and fitting in well. Marcus Pettersson played good. O'Connor beat the Sharks for us in overtime, even though we shouldn't have went to overtime. Hedel gains the zone, and he looks like Pavel Bure without the finish. Like, there was a lot of hope
Yeah.
with the way those guys are playing, and a lot of promise. People like the way the Canucks were looking, and not that they were going to get a chance to really add. I feel like Alvin and Rutherford knew that they shouldn't be adding this trade deadline. So what they decided to do was the Vancouver Canucks traded Carson Soucy to the Rangers for a 3rd-round pick. And off of that as well, they were also looking at offers for Besser because they've been far apart on contract talks. They haven't even talked to Suter about contracts, apparently, an extension. And I'll just give you guys a lowdown of what these, like, Carolina offered specifically to Besser. Initially, it was Kotkaniemi in a first, but Carolina wanted a prospect from Vancouver, which would mean Lekaramaki, a DPD, or Willander.
I don't think that's true. That they would want one of those 3.
That's what they were saying. It's just a rumor. I don't know.
Did
And
any
then
reputable source say that? But I know it was that they wanted a prospect,
Dollywall.
but they wanted one of those 3.
I don't know if it was actually specified if it was those 3, but they wanted a prospect that Vancouver didn't want to part with, so that's just what you have to assume. And then apparently at the end of the trade deadline, I think 30 minutes prior, Carolina informed Vancouver that they would do Besser for a straight up first. And they also gave Vancouver a little bit of, like, they said, we will call back if things aren't going well with other trades like the Rantanen deal and stuff. Prabby, you wanted to share some thoughts on that there, just on the Carolina-Vancouver connection?
I don't think it was ever going to be Besser straight up for a first. I don't think that was offered. I think the whole Kotkaniemi and the first was a part, like that with 30 minutes left thing. I think that deal and the first, or like it was Kotkaniemi and a first. I think the 30 minutes left first that you're talking about was that first. Like, I don't think it was ever Besser for a first straight up. Mm-hmm. To your point of the prospects, like, that's just me speculating.
Yeah.
Just because, like, I don't know, like, there's no way they want to add Kotkaniemi and then straight up just afterwards just be like, oh yeah, we don't want him anymore. But to your prospects point, I think, like, yeah, like one of those guys, there's no way Carolina has the balls to ask for. I think, like, we were talking
maybe
about
Mineo, like the guys from Abbey.
Mineo or like Kirill. I think they could be names that Carolina was asking about and Vancouver said no. I do think that, and this is also speculation again, but people on Twitter were talking about it, how Alvin just probably doesn't want to do business with the Hurricanes just because of how the whole Mikko Rantanen trade went down initially, about how it was Pettersson or Miller going to Carolina and then strung him along, and then he made the big deal for Mikko Rantanen, right? So I don't know.
We strung him along last year, though.
if what the offers are if what we're hearing about the offers, if they're true, then I'm okay with Alvi not trading Besser.
Yeah.
Right. But if it comes out that it's false, and there's like, I saw Dollywell said that like nobody really knows what happened with like Vancouver,
Yeah.
like over the trade deadline. So I know Darren Dreger was saying no first round pick was offered. Like actually like part of a deal. Like I think Florida was willing to give up a first, but then they found out that they could get Marchand for a conditional first.
Which, and obviously you're doing that.
Right. So that
36-year-old injured Marchand.
Yeah, but you know what he brings in the playoffs, man.
That's true.
It's the pedigree.
No, that guy's still a rat. Can I say anything good about him?
Yeah. So obviously it's a lackluster trade deadline, especially with what we wanted. They're going for playoffs. We're idiots for thinking that they would ever sell.
For sure. I like that. That's the problem, though. Like they do the trade with Soucy, getting a 3rd round pick, which is from the Rangers, which was San Jose's pick. So it'll be like a very early 3rd, which is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's just no direction. It's like, yeah, okay, you want to keep Besser, you want to keep Suter. And again, I love both these guys. Besser's the longest tenured Canuck. I have a lot of respect for him. His story, it's great. And he's been a very consistent player for Vancouver around the 50-point mark usually, right? Last year was an outlier year. But Besser's been very serviceable for this Vancouver team. And obviously Suter, since he's joined the Vancouver Canucks, has been incredible, very consistent, career high in goals this year. My issue is, yeah, those deals weren't good. Hang up the phone. If one of these guys, if both of them walk in free agency come July 1st, you have to take these deals. You have to swallow your pride. You have to take these deals because you're just letting them walk for free. Your team's just going to get worse right off the hop. And now all of a sudden, free agency comes around and Alvin has to buy a first line basically. Like, it just makes no sense.
I do want to say, you know that Van Canucks like news story or like
summaries?
That
Yep.
account. Great account, by the way.
Very
but
good.
I think Darren Dreger was on a show today, and basically, you know how that account does like breakdowns of what was said in like whatever interview it is. So basically, today Dreger was on some show. I think it might have been Donnie and Dolly, and they were talking about Besser, and basically, what Darren Dreger said was no one can answer why Besser didn't get traded. Level of interest wasn't there. No first round pick was offered. A team or two nibbled at the idea of trading a 2nd round pick, and then that disappeared as well. So it's like, at that rate, like, I don't know who to believe anymore.
I know.
Because some people are saying a first was offered. Some people are saying a first wasn't offered. A 2nd was tabled, and then it was taken away. Like, and it says, like, Vancouver was willing to retain 50% of Besser's contract.
And that's the thing where I have a really tough time believing how he can't be offered a first. They were willing to retain salary on Besser, man. Like, he was a proven playoff performer last year. He was absolutely clutch.
Yeah.
He didn't get to play Game 7 due to blood clots, and I know he's had some unfortunate injuries within his past and his career so far, but you can't tell me teams don't see what he is when he's playing with a consistent like play driver. Like,
yeah.
Right, and we'll get into this in a bit, but he's playing with like Pia's Suter, which he's played with before, but Miller's on that line. And right now he's playing with like Bluger, and like the lines are just, there's nothing consistent about this team right now. And like Besser obviously is a top 6 forward, and he has to prove himself, and he has to be able to perform and not just rely on other players. But you also got to give these players a fighting chance too.
I don't think he's ever going to be a player that was supposed to be a line driver, but
no, of course.
Like neither is Bjork Strand or Yanni Gord. That's
Exactly.
what I'm kind of. That's where my confusion is. And like, if he wasn't offered a first, and he's saying he wasn't offered, like, I don't think the organizer should come out, sit down, and just do a bold-faced lie. Like, there's a difference between not saying anything and then having an interview and just straight up lying, especially because, you know, there's so many reports coming out. Like, I would believe that, yeah, the only one was that Kotkaniemi one, which obviously had different issues. So that's where but like, how are you, like, I just don't get it. Like, you're not trading Suter, you're not trading anyone. And like, there was the one Dollywell said that they didn't want to get worse either.
Yeah, that's fucking ridiculous.
And then I just don't get it. Like, PD's injured, Hughes is day to day, somewhere between year to year. Like, we don't know what's happening. Yeah, Demko's like day to day, and then has been gone for a month. like, what are we going for here? Like, where's our identity? What kind of team are we? Are we sellers? Are we buyers? Are we just nothing? And it seems like we're just nothing. Like, we're just going to go with the flow, hope for playoffs, get our 2 games of revenue for Aquilini, and then what?
And that's
What's
what
the
it's
off-season?
been. Like, I don't know, as Canucks fans, as a Canuck fan, like, you just, how you have one good year, and I know they were on a PDO heater last year, and then the scoring did dry up, but like they were hot enough to obviously be in the picture. They were first in the Western Conference. They had point leaders. Besser before Christmas break was the leading goal scorer in the NHL. Like, we had so many good stories last year, a lot of healthy play as well. Like, this year we got absolutely just killed with the injury bug. Like, Vancouver got decimated with that, but that's still no excuse. Like, this team just can't consistently be a competitor. Like, you know, people rag on Toronto all the time, but Toronto can get into the playoffs, into the dance every year because they're a competitive team. Rangers, this is the first year they've had their struggles, but they've been in 5 years in a row now or something like that. Vancouver hasn't had consistency since like the Sedin era.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's actually pathetic. Like, and I'm getting close to the point with this management regime. They've only been here for a few years, and they've done we'll talk about them again a little bit later. They've done a decent job at acquiring people and like fixing the mistakes of people like Desharnais and Heinen, like letting them leave this year, right? But they've also there just seems to be a huge disconnect between owner, management, coach, and the players. It just doesn't feel like a team. No one's playing for each other, or no one's fighting. No one's on the same team. It's just a bunch of individuals, and it's been insane to watch this year.
I think it's mostly on Alvin and Rutherford. Like, I understand that, like, they want to be cutthroat. They want a cutthroat mentality, and, you know, they want to be upfront and just blunt about everything. But
yeah,
I haven't heard them once. They'll blame Pedersen. They'll blame Besser. You know, they'll do that. I haven't heard them once take accountability for themselves.
What accountability are you supposed to take? What accountability would you want them to take? Like, what are their mistakes? That's what I'm asking. Is it like the Miller Petey situation? I'm not coming at you from like, I'll prove it.
No. The Miller
what are you blaming
Petey
them
situation, and then having kind of using the Miller Petey situation as as to why the season got derailed, and not taking accountability for the fact that you assembled the worst decor in the league outside of Quinn Hughes. Like, we all said it from the get-go when they made those signings, and it literally you looked at the Canucks decor and it was Quinn Hughes, and then
Vinny Desharnais.
Yeah, who the fuck are those guys, right? Like, that's what we've been saying since day one. Obviously, the decor looks a lot better now, and that's a big part due to we all hated
Miller departing,
but we also hated the Myers contract at the time when it got signed. The guy's owned up to the contract; he's lived up to that, right?
Yeah, I can probably eat my words on that one.
Emergence of DPD.
Yeah, that's been huge. Mancini as well, playing a few games and looking great.
And then Marcus Pedersen. If they had just assembled not even like a good decor from the summer, just fucking average, like even just slightly below average, I'd be fine. But they went for these fucking trees that don't know how to move the puck or anything like that. Like,
glassing out, baby.
Glassing out. Did you guys see that there was like a hockey thing, like a hockey book that got released, and it's like tips and tricks, and like the post, like it's not tips and tricks, but it was reading. It was like
he's about to suit up.
do you know? Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, I actually don't.
It's some book that came out. It's like something to do with hockey, and the poster. And it was like different hockey plays and stuff like that, and like, like, you know, getting an advantage on your opponent. And the poster for the win the faceoff pucking out was the Vancouver Canucks head coach Rick Tocchet. You saw that?
Oh, I know who. Yeah, I have seen this. Yes.
Yeah, it's like, dude, that's all they could do.
Yeah.
I don't know this management.
Well, yeah,
I liked how upfront, and I liked, you know, Alvin's calm demeanor at the start, but like, looking at him, he fucking choked during that like post trade deadline presser.
Oh,
and he choked and he threw Besser under the bus.
You know, and that's the thing too, where I'm getting like, it's not just on management, it's not just on the owner, it's not just on the coaches, it is also on the players too. But yes, there's so many things this year that have happened, like you're specifically saying with the JT and PD drama. First off, JT and Petey, I've said it a zillion times, and other fans have too, should have came out like Mitchell and Kessler did when they had that 9-game losing streak and shut people up a little bit, right? But they didn't. Both of them chose to be mopey and just like lifeless during interviews, getting asked all the time. Clearly that makes it worse. That's also a PR problem too. How do you not sit those two guys down and be like, hey, if you act like this, at least in front of the media, then it's a nothing burger of a story. Pasternak and Marchand had the exact same thing earlier in the year, and Marchand basically just called out the media, and they left it at that, and everything was fine. But in Vancouver, it just kept going on. And this is where I have a problem with the management. When, again, it wasn't like the drama and everything was still there, but they had their first 3-game winning streak. Miller, it was the last goal Miller scored actually against the Blues, a 5-2 win for Vancouver. And again, they're on a 3-game win streak. Things are kind of turning around a bit. Obviously, the drama's still there. But the next day, Rutherford comes out with this interview and absolutely just torches Pettersson and Miller, saying that the beef can't be fixed and it's been here since he's got here. It's like there's a time and a place to say that. Why are you saying it after things are going well? Everything that's been said this year is just coming at horrendous times.
Okay, there's a little piece of that I disagree with, because I don't blame management for the Miller PD situation.
Yes, they like to an extent. I do. I don't. It's not fully on them. I understand.
There's 0 point where Rutherford could have come out and said something, and then we wouldn't have been upset. Like there was no timing thing. He probably did the interview a bit before, and got released. I don't think he signed up for it. The day after that we are on a 3-game win streak. But I get the Miller PD thing. I do think management's been a big problem with that decor that they built, and then the entire organization on just the Miller PD situation PR.
Yeah.
But those are at least the PR for that situation. It's like a 5 to 10% issue. Like the issue is Miller PD. These are two grown men that couldn't get along. It's a 4-year-long thing. It's been going on since I think we both read that long ass Reddit post by that guy.
Yep.
He pretty much laid it out like that. Those Miller issues have been sitting there for before he even joined the Canucks, and then continuously with the Canucks. There's the Mitchell Kessler situation. I can't fully remember how that one went and stuff like that. And then there was Marchand and Pasta. The reason they could do that is because there was smoke there, but there wasn't a fire. Here there was a forest fire going on between the two.
Of course.
Management was put into a bad spot with that one, because what else could they do? Like, these two players are literally at odds. Maybe they could have done something, way before. But once it got to this situation, I don't think PR would have really helped out the situation. Our media's ravenous anyways, and I like it that way because I find it entertaining.
Yeah.
So it's fine by me, but I just don't know what management really could have done in that situation that would have made it much better. Like coming out and saying they should be friends and stuff like that. They've obviously tried. It was 2 months too long, but I think it was dead in the water in December.
My thing is though too, like it's not even just this, and I do agree it's not just on management. I want to make that clear. Like I also believe Pettersson and Miller are grown-ass men. They're making millions of dollars. You're not going to like everyone that you work with, but holy smokes. Like, you guys almost beat the Oilers last year. You were like 2 goals away, I guess, from going to the conference finals. Like, this team had it, you know what I mean? And obviously they lost some pieces like Lindholm and Zadorov, which were good not signings from them, right? Very good of them to not do so. But I also think to an extent, maybe they lost a bit of the locker room, a bit of the aura that Zadorov has. But regardless, like it's not even just like that him doing an interview. Like, yeah, I think Pettersson and Miller put these guys in a tough spot. But the way they openly just like Prabby's saying, sometimes it works, but when you're cutthroat every interview or every time you get a chance to speak, you're just tanking your players' values. Like, and obviously they have to perform, but holy, like I've never seen a management or a coaching staff just like actively like disrespect their players like game after game. Like it's insane to me. And the leaks too, man. This management group used to be tight. You never heard anything. And now, again, obviously the Miller PD thing was maybe a bit different, and everybody just latched onto it. But everything gets leaked from this organization once again. It just, I'm
wondering what's getting leaked though. They found the leak when it was happening.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then now they're starting to leak again. I feel like management groups have always used media to try to,
Of course.
show players. I don't think it's against the odds, or honestly, it's probably more likely that like Vancouver themselves are leaking this stuff.
Yeah.
Like trade deadline, a lot of stuff gets leaked and stuff like that. But like even Alvin sitting down and saying, "Yeah, like the offers for Besser were terrible."
Mm-hmm.
It could just be like a contract negotiation tactic, terrible one, especially with the way things are currently going.
For how many times they've doubled down on it, that's where I get frustrated with it.
What do we? Do you know what I just want to know here?
Yeah.
Do we even want to sign Besser? What's happening on that front for you guys? Like, right? Because we're looking to trade. We're not getting a first apparently, which is shocking to me. I think he's 100% worth the first. I'm not going to argue that.
100% he is.
Oh yeah.
But like we've made arguments. Like, do we want to sign him for $8 million long term?
Probably you can go first here.
God, no. No. I also do think there's a certain aspect about Besser's game where he plays. Emotions take a big part in how he plays hockey. And I think when he's even the slightest bit upset, his game is completely off. Obviously, with the trade speculation and not having a contract beyond this year, I think it's playing a factor into his game. I don't think I would do $8 million. And if he wants to stay in Vancouver, he's got to come down. 100%, he's got to come down. Anything like even close to 8, he can go get it somewhere else.
With the cap increasing too, though, you got to really think about it.
I just wanted nice. You traded Miller, rip the core apart. Like really,
you're done with the core.
Really rip it apart. Obviously,
Miller,
Pedersen,
Miller, PD, yeah. Oh, sorry, PD Hughes.
PD Hughes. Those are your guys. Build around them. Just the rest of it. If Besser wants like close to $8 million, rip it apart and figure it out afterwards. Because they got rid of Horvat, they got rid of Miller. I heard rumors about Demko today. Like,
who's trading for that guy?
Nobody's trading, but his contract's up. I think like end of next year or something.
That's just a sad situation, though. It's not really.
Yeah,
that's a little tougher.
We'll talk about that in a second too.
Yeah.
But say your piece about Besser.
I just wanted to say this too, as on a player's perspective for Besser through management, the whole year they're saying about Besser, they're still evaluating him. Got to see how he's performing. He's been here since 2016. How do you not know what you have? I know this management came in a little bit, only like a couple of years ago now, but like they've seen him score 40 goals, outlier year, but he performs in the playoffs. Another thing that's kind of just like tanking his value is, again, yes, he has to perform, but they're splitting up the fucking power plays right now. Like, Besser's not playing where he should be. You know what I mean? Like, we're not playing our best players with our best players. Mm-hmm. Like, of course he's not going to have a 40-goal year. Hughes has been injured, so like no one can get these guys the puck right now. And then also he extends, again, they're good signings. It's just Besser's been here forever. He they extend Lankinen, they extend new guys in O'Connor and Marcus Pedersen. Say they need more from this guy. In the last 28 games, he has like 14 points or something like that. And Talkett's like, yeah, he's got to get going more. He's leading the forwards in points in the last 28 games. So that's an everybody problem. That's not just Besser. Mm-hmm. And then, like you guys said, Alvin says the offers weren't good for Besser. Talkett comes out to like right before the deadline saying, yeah, he lost his guy Mills. Miller did everything for Besser. Besser didn't do anything. It's like, holy smokes! Like, do we even like our players? Like, why the hell? If I'm Besser, why would I sign back here? And also, I just want to clarify too. I told Gunny about this today, and it's an absolute nothing burger of a story. I think I said it to you too, Pravi.
Oh, yeah.
The stripping of the A. Canucks fans got to calm down about that. They rotate A's all the time. Horrible timing on it for just people to latch onto for sure.
Yeah.
But that's just whatever. But yeah, it's just insane. If I'm Besser, like, why the hell would I sign here after this absolute gong show of a year for him? I agree with Pravi too. I think he plays with his heart. And not having the extension and security for any player is a little concerning. He's in trade talks with us every year. I want to sign him personally. I would sign him for 6 at 7.5, but I don't know. I don't think that gets it done anymore. They've done so many contract talks, and now it makes you even more angry because it's like, if he's just gonna walk for free, why didn't we just take a deal? If you know he's not coming back, because now you have no assets. And sorry, one more thing, you have no assets. Besser's walked. You don't just replace a 20 goal to 40 goal scorer. Like, you can get some 20 goal scorers in there, but you're just losing another top six. You're going to have to buy. You have nothing in the cupboard outside of Lekaramaki coming in, and he's not going to light the lamp right off the hop. It's going to take a couple of years. So I have a really tough time understanding as to why we're going to get rid of a guy that is a top six winger when he's playing with a play driver. Pettersson's having an off year too. Doesn't mean we offload him. Regroup for next year.
In that Canucks news summaries thing, that was a big thing that they talked about as well. That this is one thing I'm going to give them a pass on, right? Obviously, the Besser trade didn't work out, but they were looking towards the summer and seeing how they could fix the problems of the team rather than I'm happy. Imagine the talk of the town if we fucking traded a first-round pick this year to try to make playoffs. I'd be so livid.
Oh, yeah.
I think they were going to do that. It was a seller's market, too. I
Oh.
think that was what caused. I think I was telling Driddy like a week before, like, I'm fine if they do nothing at that point, as long as they kind of have an idea of what's happening with Besser and Suter. It was more the fact that with these prices, you kind of have to pivot.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then again, if they weren't offered it, you can't do anything.
No.
That's the thing I just have such a tough time with, though. Like, you see Brian Dumoulin going for a second, Anthony Beauvillier going for a second. You're telling me Brock Besser can't fetch a first? That is especially on retention?
Yeah.
That makes no sense. And to me, it just comes down to, again, like, he's having a down year, but everybody and their dog knows how bad the Canucks have been because it just gets leaked everywhere, and like our management, no one bats or protects each other here. It's just
it doesn't get leaked. Like, they just look at the standings. They look at the score.
Yeah, but actively, you've seen them say, "Oh, we're still evaluating Besser," and like, he's got to step up and stuff. And again, there's a time and a place to be cutthroat and give a player some motivation. But when you keep doing it, you're just fucking with the confidence. Like, I got more to say about Tocchet in last night's game with Dallas too and Petey. Like, he's done some great things with Petey, and he's talked to him a lot more lately. But again, I'm getting on my high horse and really taking control of this pod. So apologies.
Passion's bleeding through here, buddy.
I do want to say one thing. It's about the whole people are freaking out about Besser having the A taken off for Pettersson. People are also freaking out about what Tocchet said about Lekaramaki.
Oh yeah,
did you see that?
I did see that. He worded it wrong.
Yeah, he's a young guy and you can't rely on him. And people are like, what is up with this guy always shitting on his players and yada, yada, yada. And it's like, I don't think he meant it like, I don't trust the guy. It's more of like, he's a young player. He's going to learn how to play in the league. Like, we can't rely on him for goals. Yeah. Like, that's unfair to him.
That's all he was saying.
And people, I don't know. I think everybody in Vancouver is on edge. And I think like the trade deadline definitely didn't help that. And the way this team's playing, it's actually just going to drive us all insane.
Oh, 100%. It's the perfect mixture of everything. No matter what anybody says, we just like I said, like even with the Miller PD thing, like you got a 3-game win streak, everything's good. You're like coming up out of the surface. You're like, oh, there's the sun, it's shining, positivity, all this stuff. And then you get hit with this massive interview talking about how they hate each other and stuff. And you're right back down into the negativity. Canucks fans have been drowning all year in this, man. It's not, it's just tough. It's tough to get out of.
Regular scheduled Canucks.
I know.
Like, that's what I think. I think it's not like this year. Like, I think it's not like this year's the outlier, right? That's the issue. Of course not. Last year, it's much easier to argue that last year was, 0 injuries to our top guys. They all play 75 plus. Like, literally all top 5 guys played more than 75. And then on top of that, the PDO, the new coach bump where they're like driven to play. And then, it's easier to argue that last year was an outlier, and then the past 8 years have been the regular. Like, that's the issue with the team, right? I think me and Driddy talk about it. There's been no consistent vision year after year, right? There was Aquilini pushing Benning into, and Benning, that is like owned problems, but like Aquilini pushing into needing his 2 games of revenue. And then same thing this year, right? They're not ever going to come out and be like, yo, like Aquilini told us we can't sell. But I wouldn't be surprised if that's the same issue, right? If we're this close to playoffs, like, good thing we didn't buy, but I think there was probably an idea not to sell unless like something crazy came up for them. Like, I think they were shopping, but I don't think they were shopping players seriously. Like, if you don't get Besser, sure, but if you can't get like Suter off or something like that when he's a free agent we're not going to sign, that's where it surprises me.
Mm-hmm. No, it's that's the thing. Like, yeah, there's no market for Suter. Like, Suter's having an insane year. 16 goals. He hasn't scored below 14. I was saying to Gunny, like,
Mr.
just
Consistent.
consistency. And he's obviously going to get the bag this offseason. So I just have a tough time seeing how Vancouver's going to be able to pay him $3.5 to $4 million, because I think that's what he's going to get. They're saying on open market. Tough thing to add, but also it makes more of a mess for us. We have to get another center because, here's so the Suter probably gone, right?
Yeah.
They said that Bluger's not going anywhere because he's untouchable. It's like, Teddy, Bluger's untouchable? Like, this is the guy that you replace with Ratu the next year. You know what I mean? Like, that is a relatively easier, stomachable comparable.
Don't pump any players' tires except for Bluger. Yeah, he's untouchable.
Blug's been amazing last few games. He's found his offensive spark again. He won me some money from Gunny. Yeah. Thank you. But no, like, it's just, there's such a disconnect. Like I'm saying, like, how is that guy untouchable? Like Alvin's the guy that said even Gretzky was traded, and he's saying Blugs is untouchable? I love him, but man, like, get your assets. We have nothing in the cupboards to come up. Like, and now I'm really worried about this window. Like, we got 2 years before Hughes has a decision to make if he wants to stay here or not. Like, I don't really see like where Vancouver's going to get all these guys to be a contender again in the next 2 years to like really push for playoffs. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I kind of agree with Prabby, or like, you know, what Gunny said all this time, team rebirth. Like, I don't want to, but like, how else are you going to get assets and like good wingers? Like, our decor is good now, but our forwards suck. Goalies have been good since 2011. We can't get one, like, forwards and defense on the same page ever.
We're not going. If we're gonna say our forwards, I might as well, like, Pettersson off here. Yips.
Yeah, we could talk about this. Yeah,
injury.
Everything.
We got it all, baby.
Coaches.
Everything.
No, what's
JT Miller?
Yeah. You know my piece on it. I can give it real easy. I think it's exclusively injuries. Not exclusively. Exclusively is a tough word because there's way too much going on. Some mentality, but it's all stems from that tinnitus. And like, I'm not gonna.
Yep.
I don't know if you want me to go on my rant about the medical staff now.
Let's hold off on the medical staff thing for a second, but just give your piece on Pettersson here.
I think Pettersson, the whole thing is just an injury. Like, it affects him mentally and makes him play worse. And he got bullied because of it by Miller during the training season. But I don't think anything else of it. Yeah, there's his lines and putting him somewhere in other places that have an effect if he's, getting. I can't remember even what dog shit wingers he's been getting this year, but Roddy will remember because he gets irked every time. But I think it's just injury. That's it. I think it's an injury. I think he comes back better next year, or our medical staff gets fired into the sun at this point if this is the 19th reoccurring injury we have.
Yeah. Brabby?
I agree with him. I think it's an injury. Okay. And like, definitely mental, like you're saying.
Yes. Yeah.
There's not much else to say. Like, I'm not gonna come out and say, oh, he fucking sucks. Like,
no, because he doesn't. There's clearly something wrong.
Yeah, he's not playing because that just doesn't. There's no way that just happens, right? You don't fucking go from dominating games to being the 10th best player on the ice, right?
Oh, your speed burst too. You were in like the 98th percentile, and all of a sudden you're in like the 49th, 50th. Like, there's so many things leading to the injury where 100%. I agree. It's got to be the tendonitis. The fact that the team is so adamant on like being pissed if like he comes out and says that, or like not even just owning up to that. I think a lot of it also is mental because of like this year. A lot of times when you look at him, like gain the zone, he's been better as of late. Honestly, ever since he put the brace on, since Four Nations. But it always just looked like he was stumbling on his dekes, like he could never get them off anymore. Like, he's just chasing the puck all the time, and I've noticed too. Like, he usually does fall quite a bit. It's just his like play style. Not that he's like weak or anything, but I've just noticed this year and a little bit of last year too, he just falls way more, and that has to be some kind of compensation for the knee.
Yeah,
I'd have to think. And a knee doesn't just affect skating; it affects a shot. It's going to affect your, the way you play, the way you strategizing how to set up guys. Like maybe that's why he's not shooting as much, right? Like he's passing it off when he should be shooting, and maybe it's because it hurts.
Yeah.
We just don't know. That being said, he's healthy enough to play, and I do think he's got to be a little accountable. And
is he healthy enough to play?
Well, he's playing, so.
Oh yeah, that's never stopped this team before.
Of course.
They throw a goddamn corpse on the ice at this point. Like
Hughes was basically ailing on the ice for 3 games, and we thought that's fine. Sorry, just currently because he's in the lineup. As a fan, you have to think like he is good enough to play. Like they're currently sitting out Hughes, obviously because it's too much. Demko because it's too much. Whatever. My one thing I was going to say quickly about last night specifically with the Dallas game. This is where I have kind of a bit of a gripe with our coaching staff sometimes. Pettersson, Besser, DeBrusk. DeBrusk and Besser are -2 last night. Pettersson was -3. They weren't having a great game. But you're just like these are the time on ice that they had last night. 12 minutes for Jake DeBrusk, 12:45, 15:49 for Besser, 16:05 for Pettersson. These guys all should be in the 18 to 20 minute range. These are your horses. These are the guys you win with. And I'm sorry, I don't care if Bluger's having a crazy game or whoever's having a crazy game. Put these guys on when you need to get a goal. You have one goal in this game, and it's from Derek Forbert because it was a great shift by, they put Bluger with Joshua and Garland again for the first time since last year, basically, and it worked instantly.
They've definitely tried them before this.
I know they have, but keep that line together. They know how to play with each other. I'm tired of seeing. I'm not saying Garland's not a top 6 player, but Joshua just isn't this year. You keep those guys together, and they will feast on those bottom 6 players. And you don't have to stack Besser, Pettersson, and DeBrusk together, but you got to give Besser speed with I like the Heedle O'Connor line. And analytically, Harmon Dale came out with a tweet today showing that that's actually had a lot of success for Besser, and he's went away from it. Go with the things that are going to make these players succeed in their environment. You give Pettersson all this praise of I'm happy he's coming out on practices a little bit more often, and he had a really good interview, like I said to you, probably owning up on the IMAX situation, and he just got on the media side. It's a little bit of a redemption arc, if you will. But then and he gains a little bit of confidence. He scores a 1T goal. He hasn't scored that all year. That was
86 miles per hour.
Yeah, it looked great. And it was it's not he's back. It's one game. Yeah. He has to obviously continue that. But then the next game, he's having a bit of a bad game. You're not trusting your players, just throwing them under the bus, saying they have to be better. Yeah, DeBrusk might have been better if you gave him 8 more minutes. He's our leading goal scorer, man.
Yeah, I very much agree with that. It's garbage. No, dude. There's no way that if you're losing in a game that those 3 shouldn't be the ones you fucking milk the most.
They haven't. Drydie even said it's Besser leading us with 14 points in the last 28.
Yeah, but they're still your best.
That's your
players.
guy, though. He's your leading forward. So put him out.
Maybe just felt that was a scheduled loss at that point. With the way they're playing.
It shouldn't be a scheduled loss. It's a back-to-back for Dallas. I said it's the most beatable Dallas team.
No, that Dallas team is still fucking stacked.
The most beatable Dallas
team. Their first line of Johnston, Robertson, and fucking Rantanen.
Rantanen.
Jesus.
No, I totally got. I'm saying they're most beatable in the fact that Heisenen's on in, Rupe Hintz isn't in, and you don't have Ottinger in the net. That was just. It's not. I'm not saying the Canucks can even hold a penny to that team, but there was a chance because of those 3.
There was a chance of one of our players had a gun.
They beat him on the expected goals.
We can go for it or whatever, but I think benching them in those games just sends a message.
There's 20 games left.
Exactly.
The message hasn't been sent.
Stop
trying to send the message.
That's the problem, Gunny. These messages when you bench players. These messages should be sent in game 20, not in game 69, man. You have to make playoffs. You got 19 games left.
Yeah, why did you use that number?
Because that's is that not it?
It's game 64.
Oh, sorry. Whatever. But you can't be lessons are learned for sure, but that's what I'm saying. He builds up Pettersson's confidence, and then he shuts it back down because he doesn't trust him. It's the same thing with Hoaglander. Shut up for a second. He doesn't. No, I'm talking about Hoaglander for a second.
We've had about this.
Hoaglander has had probably a month of just unreal games. Yeah, he's not scoring, but it's these guys that are they're asked to do more because no one else is scoring like the top six, like I'm saying. But man, oh man, like since he's given Höglander more of a leash, look who's came out and performed. Höglander every night. He forechecks. He's an absolute animal.
These players need, man. Like, what does he need? Him kiss him on the forehead and be like, "You got this, buddy."
No, I'm not saying that, Gunny. I'm just saying that sometimes when you keep adamantly shooting your players down, like it shows on the ice. You gotta give and take a bit. Like he's not putting them in the environments to succeed. Sometimes I think Tocchet's an amazing
to succeed.
Putting top six with top six.
Are we talking about Höglander still?
No, I'm talking about the top six players right now. Sorry, but like
not letting me do my Höglander rant.
But you're just not putting these guys like you're putting Besser with Bluger on nights. It's like that's not where Besser's gonna score goals. I'm sorry, the way he has a lineup right now, you have four third liners, or you have four lines that are all playing like third lines because there's no talent on these lines. Put the talent together.
But the talent hasn't been performing this year. He never put 649 back together.
I'll give you a stat here quickly, okay?
Oh, not the stats.
I don't know exactly how many minutes they are, but these are the only two teams.
He's putting his hands up right now, so he's animated.
These are the only two teams in the NHL that have consistently not had the same lines, and it makes sense with the two coaches that are at these. One of them's the Vancouver Canucks with Rick Tocchet.
You want me to guess the other?
Yeah,
it's the boy Philadelphia.
Yep.
Hell yeah. Torts, baby, bring him back.
It's these two coaches, man. They are so stubborn in their ways sometimes. And like I said, I think Tocchet is an amazing defensive coach. Get this guy away from my fucking offense because he can't. The offense dries up, man. It's incredible.
The power play. That's always been absolutely fun.
Yeah.
Horrendous. I'd rather not have them. I'd rather them just play 5-on-5.
I'd rather we have to go on the penalty kill when the other team takes a penalty.
At this point. Hey, PK is doing good.
Yeah, the PK is incredible.
Little bright spot. My argument is, look, the players, they just have the talent's just not there.
No, it's
this
not.
year, whatever it is, if Petey's injured, it's kind of there. Hughes isn't playing.
Yeah.
I'd rather they play Tocchet style at that point. I'd rather they buy into that system. They probably bought out of the system, by the way, by now. With the loss and everything like that, the way he keeps saying, like, I've asked Petey to shoot, and then Petey to shoot for a month.
He's asking guys to go to the net, and they're not going to the net. Like, that's insane.
He said that. Like, he said, like, oh, like, I like how some of them actually carry it in. I actually don't think he actually likes when they carry it in. I do think he likes dump and chase. A little, probably too much. Mm-hmm. But, like, the talent's not there. What he's being offered with the decor, first off, we've discussed with management not giving him the proper decor of what he's asked for. I think he wanted north-south players that could make that first pass, and we got Desharnais. So that's just not it. And then now we're just running the absolute hospital ward. Like, what do you want? Like, Tocchet to make them shine? Like, they're not Gretzky out there. These players, that's the type they're gonna have to play.
Just give them consistent line mates. That's one thing I ask.
I'm not gonna argue that.
I really like this is the thing, right? You have one bad game of DeBrusk, Pettersson, and Besser, and he's like, see, it doesn't work. And then they're all split up. You got 1A, 1B power plays. Power plays, absolute dog shit. Here's a couple other. Hughes is gone. That's a huge factor too. Yeah, I should have said that.
That's one positive. Actually, no, go ahead. We'll finish.
His injury?
No, not that, but like has to do with that.
I just want to say quickly, Sportsnet stats here. It's a tweet that they came out with today. This is the Canucks team offense since January 1st.
Oh, I saw this.
Goals per game, 2.19. Yeah, that's good for dead last in the league. Even strength goals per game, 1.56 per game. Again, good for last in the league. We have teams like Chicago and the Sharks outperforming us right now. Shots on goal per game, a little bit better, 25.1. Good for 31st in the league. And shooting percentage, yes, they're getting a little bit unlucky, but I'm sorry, no traffic in front and a Forbert wrister at the point isn't going to get it done. 8.7%, 29th in the league. No wonder they can't win games.
But that's not on Tocchet.
Huh? Like, some of that is on Tocchet.
Some of it is.
Why is our best attack coming into the zone, struggling to get it from the boards, getting it back to the point, D to D, shot, stoppage of play, commercial break, I go cook my chicken.
Who can take the puck into the zone on this team other than
Hedl.
Garland? Yeah, Hedl and Garland.
O'Connor.
Okay.
I'm not kidding. Those are the guys.
He's just hoping it sticks. I don't think O'Connor can. I saw him get stripped so many times lately.
Yeah, I know, but he attacks the puck with speed because
that's two players we got in the last like 6 games. And what else? Like
Heedle's zone entries success rate is like 83%, leads the league since he's been here.
That's actually kind of electric. He can be the difference maker, but I just don't blame that 30 second. I know there's the stats back then with Arizona and stuff like that.
Yeah,
sure. We can. I'll even agree that maybe Talkie doesn't fit the team style, needs to be moved. But he's not the entire reason we're 32nd.
He's 100% not. I agree.
This team needs some talent. If they're worse than Chicago and San Jose, it's not Talkett's style that's causing that. It's heavily on the players that he has.
Yeah.
Who are not performing, who are injured, who are broken, who are heartbroken, whatever the hell the problem is. But I'm not. Like we talked about magic, we talked about coaching, but at the end of the day, this core's 18th management group and 15th coach. Like I'm not gonna sit here and just give them another excuse. Like you guys aren't even. You guys even said you're comfortable blowing up the core, taking out Besser, but it's just we need a long-term vision at this point.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
And I don't even know which one's the correct one. I'll say that. Maybe I didn't think retool was correct last year, and it kind of worked out.
Yeah.
So maybe it is. Maybe it's rebirth. We just we strip this team for parts. Maybe it's just an actual rebuild around PD and Hughes.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. I'd rather we stick to a plan for 3 years than every single year have to make the same debate and flip a coin on which one we end up doing.
Yeah.
That's the thing. There's never a plan with this team. Like last year, yeah, there was. They rewarded the players. They went out and got Zadorov and Lindholm bulked up. I was so happy with that because the team looked good. There was a real chance that they could have won the cup last year. Like they had one of those teams. And then this year, that's where I think frustration for me and all these other fans, all of us, we get frustration because there's no direction. You never know what the Canucks are going to do. They trade Susie for a third. They trade Miller. They get some prospects, some picks right away. It's like, yeah, we trade that first for Pettersson. And again, yeah, the decor looks great now, but again, we just don't have assets to build a contending forward group now. Like, I just don't know where this team's gonna go next.
One thing I will give them, due to with the whole decor situation, you have your top 4 locked up for next year.
Yep.
Right,
Willander coming up the pipeline. Yeah,
Willander also should sign in a few weeks or something like that. But you have your top 4 defensemen locked up. You got Hughes for next year. You got Hronik, Pettersson, and Myers.
Yep.
So now, get me some freaking offense. I swear to God.
Yeah. And it's got to be. Though. That's the other thing too. Like
free agent class is pretty juicy.
They went out and got DeBrusk.
Marner.
Yeah, Marner would be.
Don't put myself in a chokehold, bro. Well, the positive thing I wanted to say is Philip Hronik is showing that he is well deserving of his contract.
100%. He looks great.
Yeah. Everybody who said he was a Quinn Hughes merchant, Gunny, they're choking on their words. And
did I say that?
No, you didn't. I just
I don't think so. You probably could put words in my mouth. I'm pretty sure I didn't say that.
No, but there was a lot of people, and I think he's proven that at the time I was skeptical of the contract too. I was like, man, that's kind of you play with Quinn Hughes, but
yeah.
Throughout the dog shit that is the Canucks, he's been a bright spot through this stretch.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah,
I do think Drydy's going to say a point, but I do want to mention one thing for when you say, get me some goal scoring in this off season. Mm-hmm. This might be an off season like 2016, where there's that large increase, and then the knowledge also that there's an increase in the future. Where honestly, I'd rather the team do nothing.
Yeah,
it's when everyone's zigging, you need to zag. There's going to be teams that are kind of hesitant to give, and then some teams holy crap, we got some cash. Hey Besser, you want 9? We'll give it. There's going to be some crazy contracts. There was a team that signed Louis to 6x6. Stuff happens. Milan
who did that?
Huh? You wouldn't like him. But I am hesitant about spending money to fix our problems this year. That's why I'm currently on team let's blow up at this point. But then there's also the whole, because I think the team's going to convince themselves that PD's fine next year, and that should be good enough, which honestly isn't the worst argument, which scares me a little bit.
Yeah, that's one thing we didn't talk about. First off, for the record, at the time, I was really excited about the Eriksson contract. Player just sucked.
Oh, I loved it.
Yeah, I was stoked. I thought that was great. So
Yeah, cup run.
yeah. Well, especially too, like that first game, I talk about it all the time, but like that first cycle you have with the Sedins in Calgary, holy smokes. It's better than the shift almost. It's crazy. But anyways, yeah, that's a huge if too. I believe it because of the injury stuff and having the off season to train and, just take a break from hockey, like have that mental reset for Pettersson, I think is huge. I do think he'll come back. These guys that hate on him, I've talked to both of you guys on the phone. It's just absolute blind hate sometimes. He could have toast for breakfast and people are like, he's not getting the right bread. Like, it's just insane. Like, these guys got to lay off of him a little bit. Like, I know he's got to get points. We know he's not performing.
$11.5 million
No,
superstar.
He deserves criticism, but he doesn't deserve this absolute stupid hate that he gets. Drives me nuts.
I know what you're talking about. It's
Yes.
fair, Ready? Just like
Thank
to
you.
rally you up a little bit.
I don't even know how to describe this podcast. I've just been whining for an hour.
I think we should get to some league news because we're almost an hour in here.
Do we even
Quickly,
want the league news?
Yeah, no, we'll get to the league news quickly.
I only
but
care
I just
about
want,
one, if I'm being honest.
I just want Gunny to talk about the medical staff if he wants to elaborate a bit more here.
Yeah, we've alluded to it. So those of that waited a solid 56 minutes.
Shout out.
Honestly, that's pretty much it. All right. We've talked about this, the medical staff, the injuries this year. There's been smoke for a while with what happened with Pearson. There was the issues with that where Hughes came out and said, like, straight up, like, the situation wasn't handled correctly, which is embarrassing for Hughes to say. Specifically, that was before. I think he was captain too.
It was.
So this was like, and he's not a talkative guy. Like, he doesn't really, he takes the blame himself. He doesn't really say a lot. There was Mikheyev with his shoulder ACL that he's played on for like 4 years, not 4 years, sorry, 4 months. And then they finally shut him down, which like ruined him as a player. And then he couldn't have a training season, looked terrible the next year. And we were sticking him on PT's line, but that's its own thing. But the reoccurring injuries are starting to get worrisome. It's no one here has a medical degree, and neither does anyone on Twitter or Reddit that's going to be talking about this. But it's just results based that we're looking at it here. We've had Petey that's been injured for a full year. We've had Demko that's been injured for like multiple years now. He had the double hit, but like this last year where we just get like day by day into month to month into he's coming back and then he's just gone again. Mm-hmm. You've had Besser with reoccurring injuries. What's been happening with Hughes is kind of what drew me to the point where like I'm constantly talking to Draddy about this. Like, he's having to play injured in December, gets injured again, comes back, gets injured again. It's not due to the same injury as what we're getting told. And then it's, oh no, he actually is. It is the same thing. Like right now, no one's confident he's going to come back tomorrow or if he's just shut down for the season. But these reoccurring injuries to our players, like what's going on there? Like Rutherford said he was looking into it with the medical staff, but nothing's happened.
Well, and you think about the regimes prior, like specifically the Gillis era. Yeah. We like guys were absolutely hurting in the Stanley Cup Finals, but that's the playoffs. Everybody's playing hurt at that point for the most part, and that makes sense. That I don't think in that era of Canuck hockey, I've seen like this team wasn't getting injured like that. We have to have like some of the most injuries I've ever seen on a team, not just this season, but just in general, like year after year. Last year, I was shocked to see how healthy we were. That never happens. Mm-hmm. You're always guaranteed like Besser being out for a little bit. Pettersson's been on and off, but like this year's been just a nightmare of like people getting injured, like you're saying, like constantly. And they're talking about Hughes right now. Potentially, he's going to have this injury throughout if they make playoffs. So are you telling me you're going to play him in playoffs where people hit everything that moves, and obviously they know that's our puck mover? Like, are we just putting him out there at risk for a further injury or to, make him have to get surgery? Like,
I think one thing also, like, to just come, like, yeah, are they going to keep playing them injured and stuff like that? Look at Chris Tanev. Left our team and then just has 4 straight years?
Exactly.
Yeah. Like, that guy was a full Band-Aid with us, and we thought it was because he was a Warrior, but is it just because of the incompetency or medical stuff? Like, how long can we just keep having these reoccurring? And like, it's it was kind of blown over when it was McKayev and Pearson and stuff like that, and probably shouldn't have been. It actually wasn't. Our media was pretty aggressive on the Pearson stuff because that was pretty crazy how bad it was dealt with.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But then, like, I think our media's even come out about this stuff, right? And it's the zero communication on that. They don't have to give communication on injury. I'm fine with that. But to the point where it's like half these players are playing injured to the point, like, way beyond what players usually play, and it's affecting the game. Like, why are we not shutting them down? Like, is everything for those 2 games of revenue?
Well, that's the thing. And like you're saying, too, like, I don't mind if they don't communicate it either. But when they do communicate it, being like, oh, yeah, Demko's injury, not serious. He'll be back after 4 Nations. It's been a fucking month. It's been a month. I don't know if he's alive or dead right now. I genuinely don't. Haven't heard anything about him skating.
I hope it's a communication issue. Like, or is it like, because like, does Tocchet even know? Why is Tocchet coming out and saying these are day-to-day injuries? Like, does our medical staff not know?
Yeah.
Until it's like kind of just, oh, like that guy's not playing for the rest of the season. He's got a new body part. Like, what happened?
Alvin said during his like presser after the trade deadline, he was asked about Hughes, and he's like, "Oh, like if he could play tomorrow, he would play." It's like, yeah, like we know he wants to play, but like obviously he can't. He doesn't even know if it's day to day. Like he said he hasn't spoken to the staff and all this stuff. It's just like, again, I keep saying this pod, but there's just a disconnect throughout the whole organization right now.
Yeah. I don't know why they're half, like, just the communication's been dog shit to the media.
Yeah.
I honestly agree with you on that part. I feel like they're better off not saying anything at this point.
Exactly.
For most of the stuff, rather than telling us random day-to-day stuff. But the Hughes injury, I genuinely think, is one of the bigger problems. I think when it's our captain, it shows a little bit more. And then with PD's full year of injury, you got to start questioning the medical staff at that point.
Yeah.
Like Minnesota's right. Look at them. They're getting questioned by the whole league because of what they did to Charlie McAvoy. Like, they're professionals, but like, how good are they?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. No.
Are we gonna go league news here?
We're gonna go league news. We're getting a little happy here.
Are we long time in it?
Oh gosh.
Sorry,
Brabby.
Brabby.
Dude, I've yawned so much.
I thought you could try to. Don't read off the news. Should we just do the big news? Who's coming to us for news like around the league?
Yeah.
Who's staying for an hour and 2 to listen to us?
I wanted to talk about Aaron Ekblad more than anything.
Oh, yeah.
A 20-game suspension. Apparently, he just is literally nothing. Yeah, and like he just had an injury a while back.
Slap on the wrist.
Yeah.
By the way, for those not watching live,
he's forfeiting $2 million, bro.
Yeah.
Apparently, yeah, he had an injury a while back, and he took some like medication that he didn't know contained the it was like a small amount of whatever.
Something happened in the NBA, same thing.
Yeah,
honest mistake.
Yeah.
No, honestly, who hasn't?
Give it to Petey. Give it to the whole Canucks. I don't care.
Dude, whatever they got PD on with the fucking the zoom in on the ice pack during the 4 Nations killed me.
Jeez.
Oh man,
it's a fucking parody.
Yeah, I'm not reading out all these trades, but just some crazy notable ones. Carolina apparently was told by Rantanen, he's like, nuts. I have 4 teams I'm gonna go to. You're not one of them. Oh, what an L for Carolina. They got 2 firsts, a third, and Stankoven. Like, great. But, man, like you guys are saying, Dallas is terrifying. They got to sign an extension with both Wyatt Johnson and Rantanen. Like, tidy piece of work by Jim Nill.
Yeah.
Someone wants to crawl back to one of our old pods, go an hour in when we made predictions, and I said Dallas would win a cup in the next 5 years, like 2 years ago.
You did? That
team would be nuts not to win one. That one draft they had where they got Ottinger, Heiskanen, and Robertson. What a set!
Like, was that Hintz or was it? Oh, it was Robertson, wasn't it?
I think it was the 3 I said, but I wouldn't be surprised if it. I think Hintz was.
No, I think you're right.
Might have been afterwards, but yeah, that team's
just insane. The West looks great though. Like, you have that. Colorado bulked up a little bit, getting Nelson from the Islanders, and they also they got Charlie Coyle. Yeah. Traded off for Middlestat, which I think Coyle's just a better playoff performer. Middlestat's had
that's a bona fide 3C in Charlie Coyle.
Exactly. So great playoff of Colorado. You have a reunion for Brandon Tanev in Winnipeg, I believe, and they also got Luke Shen. Obviously, we talked about Marshawn going to Florida, which is just wild.
Yeah.
Also, Seth Jones to Florida.
Now we know why. They probably saw that coming from a mile away, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, we also have Tampa Bay loading up, getting Bjorkstrand and Gord from Seattle.
I love Tampa. Love that they never pick. They just team. That's a team. That's honestly we think we're Tampa.
No, that team is they're great.
We trade like we're Tampa.
That's the thing, man. We're always at the cap, and we're like, why is this team so bad? Then meanwhile, you see Tampa, like, you know, they cut ties. They're cutthroat, but they cut ties with Stamkos. They immediately bring in Gensel. Like, my God.
Cut ties with Sergachev and Stamkos. Ship Sergachev out.
They sent Palat after the 2 cups as well. Mm-hmm. The team knows when not to pay.
Also, this was kind of a crazy flop, I thought. I also, just considering this is actually a guy that people were talking about Vancouver to get Quinn Hughes to stay Josh Norris. Because they were college roommates or played in college. So funny.
Like David strategy.
Get
the lunch lady.
But yeah, you got Dylan Cousins from Buffalo going to Ottawa for Norris and Bernard Docker. Oilers did some things too. They got Trent Frederick from Boston, Wallman from San Jose. Our boy Kuzi is back in the Pacific Division with the LA Kings.
Another team to get scratched from.
Yeah. And then Toronto also did some good things too. They got Brandon Carlo and Scott Lawton. Mm-hmm. And
worth the first.
It's pretty nuts.
Yeah, crazy. Lawton's worth the first. Bjorkstrand's worth the first, but not Besser. That guy's worth a 7th. Take it or leave it.
Not troll play.
Did they? Hold on.
I can just make jokes here. If you're in an hour in, you're getting I think you should leave references.
Oh, 100%. Hour in, you're,
Yeah,
good
I
for
think
you.
everyone agrees. Cup favorites, Florida, Dallas.
Cup
Florida
favorites, Vancouver.
Leafs traded 2 first-round picks.
Yeah, they did. Sorry. I just didn't add that because I was like just getting the notable additions.
No, you should have done it.
Should have. Weird schedule for Vancouver this week. They play 4 games, but they're 2 sets of back-to-backs. Mm-hmm. So tomorrow, Tuesday, they play against the Montreal Canadiens.
That's such a fucking winnable game.
It is. Now here's the thing.
Oh, God.
Demko is not healthy. Okay. In both of these back-to-backs, you're probably going to have to play Seelovs. Is there a world where you guys would play Lankinen for both starts?
Fuck no. Seelovs against Montreal and then Seelovs against Chicago.
I don't even want to trust.
Okay.
Wow.
Set.
Yeah, because you want him to play against Lankinen to play against Calgary, obviously, because that's that's a big
Utah,
one.
right?
Utah.
Was it Utah as well for the 4th game?
I think so.
I think Sunday's Utah.
Yeah. Oh, it is. That's right. Yeah, so those are 2 huge games, 4-point swings there for Vancouver if they can get that going. Man, if they go, you know what? Hey, you win 4 in a row here? I'm like, bring Lindholm and Zadorov back. Let's go.
Fucking back.
We're so back, man.
Are we doing this again?
Haven't heard that in
Go,
2 years.
Canucks, go.
Fucking years.
Sign up for 12. No, boys.
Roller coaster, honestly.
Yeah,
I think
perfect.
we're going to be in the every 3 games. That cycle. We're back. It's over. We're back.
I'm going to give them 3 more games. That's going to be me.
Oh, I can't wait to see you guys come playoff time at my house for watch parties.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, let's wrap this up here. Where the hell are my notes? Perfect. Okay.
Why do you need your notes?
Just for all the social media that people don't follow. Well, if you made it this far,
I don't even follow.
you could follow our podcast, What the Nuck, on Instagram, X, and Blue Sky at What the Nuck Pod, and our YouTube channel and TikTok at What the Nuck. This has been the What the Nuck podcast with Drydy, Gunbeer, and Prabby. Have yourselves a great week, and go Canucks, go!